The Blood Eagle, Viking execution, or grisly myth. The Blood Eagle, Old Norse, blodurn, stands out in popular imagination as the Vikings' most savage execution method. A ritualistic torture where the victim's back is flayed open, ribs severed from the spine, and lungs yanked out to form bloody wings, often as a sacrifice to Odin. Popularized by the TV series Vikings, where it's inflicted on foes like Jarl Borg and King Ella, it evokes images of Viking brutality at its peak. But was it real, or a medieval horror story amplified over centuries? Historians remain divided. The evidence is thin and literary, with no archaeological proof, yet recent studies suggest it was anatomically feasible and culturally plausible. If it happened, it was likely reserved for high-profile revenge killings among elites, not routine punishment. Below, I'll break down the description, historical accounts, the debate, and why it's often called the most brutal, with comparisons to other Viking methods. Description of the ritual accounts vary in gore, but the core steps drawn from Norse sagas include: 1. Preparation. The victim, prone, arms tied, is restrained, often after battle capture. 2. Incision. A deep cut along the spine exposes the back muscles and the vertebrae. Rib separation. Using a sword, axe, or specialized knife, the executioner unzips the ribs from the spine, starting at the lower back and working up, requiring precise anatomical knowledge to avoid immediate death. 4. Lung extraction. The lungs are pulled through the wounds and splayed like wings, sometimes dusted with salt for added agony, a later embellishment. 5. Death. From blood loss, shock, or asphyxiation, the victim dies mid-ritual, turning it into a symbolic display rather than prolonged torture. This would take minutes, not hours, but the spectacle, performed publicly for witnesses, amplified its terror. Viking weapons like single-edged sea axes, knives, or spearheads could perform it, as shown in 2021 anatomical modeling by Kiel University researchers. Historical evidence. The Blood Eagle appears sparingly in medieval texts, all written 200–400 years after the Viking Age, c. 793–1066 CE, blending oral skaldic poetry, riddlesome verses praising deeds, with Christian-era embellishments. No contemporary Viking records exist, as they relied on oral tradition. Source. Date. Written. Key description. Victim. Context. Orkneyinga Saga, Saga of the Earls of Orkney. 13th century. Earl Torf Einar cuts a blood eagle on Halfdan Longleg's back, severing ribs and pulling out lungs as an Odin sacrifice after avenging his father's death. Halfdan, Norwegian prince, c. 9th century, retaliation killing. Heimskringla by Snorri Sturluson. 13th century, similar to above. He thrust his sword into Halfdan's chest by the backbone and severed all the ribs down to the loins, and then pulled out the lungs. Same as above. Emphasizes ritual precision. Ragnar's Saga, Lodbrokar, Saga of Ragnar Lothbrok, and Tale of Ragnar's Sons. 13th–14th century. Ivar the Boneless carves an eagle into King Ella's back, ribs split, lungs formed into wings, for killing Ragnar in a snake pit. Ella, King of Northumbria, 867 CE. Famous revenge motif, inspiring the great heathen army invasion. Knut's Drapa, poem by Sigvard Thordarson. 11th century, earliest oblique reference. Ivar had the eagle cut in Ella's back, possibly metaphorical for a fatal back wound. Ella, skaldic verse, open to interpretation as eagle, symbolizing death. Eagles as carrion birds in Norse lore. Gesta Danorum by Saxo Grammaticus. Onki, 12th century, an eagle figure carved into the back. Less graphic, no lung mention. Generic foe, Danish perspective, possibly symbolic. These tie to themes of vengeance for slain fathers, e.g. Ragnar's sons versus Ella, and Odin worship, where blood offerings ensured victory or honor. Myth or real? The scholarly debate. Arguments for reality. Anatomical feasibility, a 2021 study in speculum by anatomists Heidi Fuller, Monty Gates, et al. Used 3D modeling to confirm it's possible with Viking tools, though the victim dies quickly from spinal shock or hemorrhage. It fits elite Viking practices of corpse mutilation, e.g. bad deaths for enemies to deny Valhalla, and ritual displays seen in Gotland picture stones depicting executions. Cultural fit. Vikings mutilated bodies in funerals, sacrifices, e.g. thrall killings at burials. Alfred Smith, 1970s, called it human sacrifice to Odin. 9 accounts, Old Norse, Latin, suggest shared oral knowledge. No precedents. Similar rituals in other cultures, e.g. Scythian, steppe, nomad, winged deaths. Arguments for myth. Literary invention. Roberta Frank's seminal 1984 paper argues it's a skaldic kenning, poetic metaphor for stabbing in the back, exaggerated by Christian scribes into horror for propaganda, paralleling saint martyrdoms like Saint Sebastian's arrow-riddled body. Details evolved for maximum horror by the 19th century. No hard evidence. 0 skeletons show rib-lung trauma. Viking Age graves lack it. Sources are late, inconsistent, and saga-based. Entertainment, not history. Ronald Hutton calls it a Christian myth from misread verse. Overhyped brutality. Vikings were violent. Raids killed thousands. But Blood Eagle's rarity suggests folklore. Contemporary Anglo-Saxon chronicles, e.g. on Ella's death, mention no such rite. Consensus. Possible as a rare elite ritual. See 9th century, but likely mythologized. If real, it was more post-mortem desecration than live torture. Compared to other Viking executions, Vikings had a spectrum of punishments, from legal, fines, outlawry, to brutal for traitors' captives. Blood Eagle tops most brutal lists for spectacle, but here's a comparison. Ornament, Blood Eagle, as above. Ritual wings from lungs. Extreme, symbolic horror. Sagas debated, reserved for kings, princes. Snake pit, thrown into vipers, adders, slow, venomous death. High, prolonged agony. Ragnar's saga. Ella used on Ragnar, revenge trope. Beheading, axe to neck, mass executions post-battle. Moderate, quick public. Archaeological, e.g. Ridgeway Hill mass grave, 50+ decapitated. Jomsvikings after Hjörungavágr. Exposure, infants, elderly, left to die in wilderness. Genocide, infanticide. Low, passive cruelty. Sagas, economic necessity in harsh Scandinavia. Holmgang duel, shielded combat to death over insults, disputes. Variable, honorable fight. Legal texts, not execution, but fatal. Hanging, strangling, for theft, cowardice, body displayed. Moderate. Law codes, thralls sacrificed at funerals. Blood Eagle's brutality stems from its intimacy and mythos, turning death into artful vengeance over sheer pain. Legacy and modern fascination. Whether fact or fiction, the Blood Eagle endures as Viking shorthand for savagery, fueling media like Assassin's Creed, Valhalla, and Midsummer. It highlights Norse values, honor through spectacle, revenge as justice, and Odin's bloodlust. Yet Vikings weren't uniquely cruel. Their raids mirrored medieval norms, and they were also traders, farmers. For a deep dive, read Frank's Viking Atrocity and Skaldic Verse, or the 2021 Speculum study. If real, it reminds us, Viking glory often dripped red.